Hi, good afternoon. It's R&D again from PWG Auto. Today we have a NP 200 1.6 in for 120,000 kilometer service. The customer did just any electrical work that you need, give this guy a call, based in the West. Anyways, customer did tell me to check the brakes. It is making a noise, and so we'll go ahead and just do the road test and confirm the complaint. He also did say he did drive it a bit on the handbrake because of the noise, and it's not quite happy with that either. So let's do the test drive and then we'll get it on the lift and check it through. Again, like we start any test drive, we start a car, see if there's any warning lights on the dash. If there's nothing, we'll just go ahead and start, and we're going to check for a couple of things. First of all, see what the clutch feels like, how's the gear changes, if it's got air conditioning, we'll test it. This one does have, I can hear it kicking in. Oh, and the brakes is really bad, metal to metal, I can hear it already. Couple things that we also check for: feel what the steering feels like, what does the suspension feel like, is there any knocking noises, is there any clunks. Just a little general check to try and see if there's any noises or any clunks or anything that's not functioning like it should, any noises that we can identify it before it goes on the lift. So far everything on this car feels good. It's literally still new in here, it's been very well looked after. So yeah, we'll also listen for wheel bearings, all that kind of things, and so far on this one, nothing good. So we'll get it back to the shop and get it on the waist and start checking it through. Alright, next we're going to check lights, horn, wipers, all that stuff. So let's do park lights. Yes. Headlights. Yes. Brights. Yes. Indicators. Yeah. Indicator. Yes. Horn. There we go. Wipers. Yeah. We'll have to unblock this one sprayer. Yeah. Okay. Alright, taillights, we've got number plates, lights working. Yeah, reverse, yes. Brake lights, yeah. Indicators, yes. Yes. Fog light, does it have a fog light? Nope. Okay, thank you. Yeah, no. Next, I'll get it on the waist and we'll start checking brakes and suspension. See you now. Hi, good morning. So we it's the next morning. We're leaving off with the NP 200, or starting off where we left off with the NP 200. We've done a road test. Let me just recap. On a road test, it is so important to do that. If you just go ahead and put a car on the waist, there's a couple things that you'll probably not notice. So it's so important to do the test drive. First of all, we start checking the steering, see if there's any noises or play in the steering or knocking noises. It's important to try and identify problems before the thing goes on the lift. We check the brakes for shuddering, noises, squeaking. If you just put it on a lift to take the wheels off, you'll never know if it squeaked. You'll never know if it shuddered. So that has to be determined on the road test. We check the suspension, drive it on a little bit of a rough road to see if you can identify any noises, you know, knocking from maybe worn out control arm bushes or worn shocks. You know, if the car feels floaty on the road like a boat, you know what to check for when it's on a lift. On this particular NP200, the only thing that I could identify, but the customer told me about it anyway, was the very badly worn brakes that's grinding metal to metal. So first thing, we're going to start off at the top and do a couple of checks. We have to go through this process to make sure obviously the car is roadworthy, and also try and identify problems that could be an issue in the future. So let's check. I always start with the cooling system. It's the most important in my opinion. This one's got good antifreeze in it. It looks really good, but I will say this: if you don't know the age of that antifreeze, go ahead and change it. It's supposed to be done every 24 months. Check your brake fluid. This stuff is nasty. I don't know if you can see the black stuff there in the bottom. Also, brake fluid is supposed to be replaced every 24 months because brake fluid is hygroscopic. It does absorb moisture from the air, and that moisture is in there and it does corrode the braking system from the inside. It's like a cancer. You can't see it, and when you start noticing problems on the hydraulic side of it, it's too late. Then it's costly repairs. You can easily prolong the life of components, brake calipers, the rear wheel cylinders, this master cylinder. Also on the clutch side, it runs off the same container. Again, that clutch master cylinder life can be prolonged. The slave cylinder on this NP200 is actually inside the valve housing. So just to open, I don't know if you can see where the hose goes in. It's right there. That hose goes into the valve housing, and it's a very costly repair that can be avoided if you just replace the brake fluid every 24 months. So on this stuff, I will go ahead and quote the customer on that brake fluid, and we'll see what he says. All right. While it's at the top here, we check the condition of the V-belt. This one is a little bit hard to get the camera in there, but it doesn't look too bad. Although it is old and there's some slight cracking going on there. I have to open the cam belt cover and check that. I'll do it when we bring the car down again. Let's do inspection under. Alright, so with the car halfway up on the lift, I'm going to start, before we take off the wheels, just to feel out if there's any play in the steering and ball joints and control arms. Left to right, up and down. This is good, nothing going on. We're going to do the same on the other front wheel, and we do the same in the back, just to have a general feel if there's any play or anything like that. So I did take the wheel off on the other side already. And this brakes is metal to metal already. You can see it clearly there, and there's quite a ridge on here. Some discs does have a wear indicator that helps you to see the wear on the disc. This one does not, but it's metal to metal. The ridges is quite thick. If we skim this, there will be nothing left. I'm sure it will be too thin. So this one, I can see the right front shock is also leaking. Although I didn't feel anything wrong with the shocks on the road test, this thing is leaking, and we will quote the customer on it. Alright, let me move on to the back brakes. that is very thin, and we'll quote the customer on that also. Let's just measure the disc, the drum there I mean. Okay, so measuring this drum with a vernier. On the drum it says there the maximum wear limit should be 229.5 millimeters. This thing measures at 228, so I would recommend we replace these drums. If we skim it, it's going to be way past the if we skim it, it's going to be like at or over 229 mil. Just looking at the reach here, that's probably about a millimeter or so per side. Yeah, it's going to be over. I'll quote the customer. And then unfortunately on this drum, it's going to get expensive because the wheel bearing is press fitted in there, and if you try and remove it, you will destroy the bearing. So it's going to be drums and bearings and new brake shoes. The wheel cylinders look okay. I still need to do inspection on the other side, and then we'll know. Anyway, let's jack the car up and check the rest of it under. Alright, I always like to start at the back. We look at the back shocks. Back shocks on this one is okay. I always look at the the coil springs, that the mountings, this rubber mounts, and it's in good condition. There's nothing going on here. Shock mounts, it's looking good. Look at the axle bushes. You do actually put a pry bar on it and move it left to right to make sure that is okay. Then just a general inspection on the exhaust system, brake lines, fuel lines, all those things. You know, look at the fuel tank, see if there's leaks. Make sure the spare wheel is nice and secured, and obviously make sure it's inflated. Look at all the exhaust rubbers. Just a general inspection. If there's any damage, you know, deal with it. Everything is looking okay. So when we get to the front, we always check for leaks. And what I mean by check for leaks, make sure that there's no engine oil leaks. If there's anything, it needs to be dealt with. This looks good. Look for gearbox oil leaks. At the side shaft flanges, everything is nice and dry here. There's no obvious coolant lines, coolant marks. This car seems to be really good condition. Then we look at CV boots. Everything is good. Look at the control arm bushes. We actually put a pry bar in there and check it all. We look at the little boots on the ball joints. Steering rack boots. There's a little bit of sweat on the steering, but nothing to be concerned about yet. Everything on this particular car seems to be in good order. So yeah, the last thing before we go ahead and quote the customer on all the faults, we just need to check that cam belt. We'll do it now. Also, when we get to the front, obviously check the shocks. This driver side one is nice and dry. Passenger side is leaking oil. Not a good thing. Anyways, let's drop it down, get that cam belt cover off, and then we check that. Alright, engine mounting coming off. Just lifting the engine a bit to access the bolts. Just while Tula Sizwe is taking off that cover still, again, Quentin, really good electrician in town. Anything you need, give Quentin a call. It's going to help you quick. I do have to say, I do like the I do like the signage. Does look really good. Fits his bucky well. Alright, cover coming out. Let's take a look at the drum bar. Yeah, this we don't know if the cam bolt was replaced at the 75,000k service, although it doesn't look too bad. Again, I do recommend, if you do not know the history, I would recommend just changing it. It's a lot cheaper to do a cam belt than to fix bent valves. Anyway, I think I will go ahead and quote him on a cam belt kit with a water pump, just because we don't know the history of it. He can make the decision if he wants to do it now or not. Anyways, let me go and make that quote, and then whatever work he authorizes, I'll document it. So I'll get back to you soon. Cheers. I did send a quote off to the customer, and we had a short little talk, and he had some questions. We couldn't discuss it fully. He's driving and he lost signal, so he'll call me back. I'm still waiting for authorization. And he had some good questions, so it's a good time to discuss it. Some other things I also didn't put in a video, like for instance, on all services we do check gearbox oil and level. Do check the power steering oil also, top it up if necessary. And when we do find that the power steering oil has deteriorated, it has changed color, I would also quote on doing a power steering flush. And manual transmission oil, I do recommend changing it at least every 90,000 kilometers. So much wear and tear can be avoided and damage if you just change all the fluids when it's necessary. Gearbox oil, power steering oil, brake fluid, antifreeze. So much headache and hassle that can be avoided if that kind of stuff is done regularly. Customer did ask me what is wrong with the water pump, why did we quote on it with the cam belt kit. It's not that there's anything wrong with it, it's just a matter of preventative maintenance. The water pump runs on a cam belt. It's that pulley that sticks out there. It's just so that if this cam belt was done and the water pump replaced, obviously we do replace the tensioner also, because there's a bearing in there. The water pump's got a bearing in there. The whole point of this is to prevent any other work that needs to be done until the next cam belt service. It is going to be heartbreaking or sad for the customer if a cam belt was done and a 600 or 700 rand water pump was left out of this, and he needs to pay all that labor to do it all over again. So there's nothing wrong with the water pump. In fact, there's nothing wrong with the tensioner at the moment, but there's bearings in there that will wear out, and it's just better to do preventative maintenance than to deal with the aftermath. Especially when it's not the owner of the vehicle that's driving it. If there's a coolant leak, generally they figure it out when it's way too late and you overheat the thing and you've got severe engine damage and you have to replace an engine because you didn't want to do a 700 rand part. Alright, on to the next thing. I did have some questions about the rear brakes. Why do I want to replace the drums and the shoes? Well, like I showed you in the video earlier, the measurement is 229 mil. That is the max. This one is at 228. When you do the skim work, it's going to be oversized. I don't know where it's going to end. I have seen it before where They just make an oversized shoe, so the brake shoe is thicker, and to accommodate for that extra metal that was cut off past the maximum diameter. The problem with that is when that oversized brake shoe wears out and gets to, let's say, 50%, what happens is that clearance needs to be taken up. This wheel cylinder was never designed to move that far, and probably will start leaking when this piston pushes out past a certain distance. This automatic adjuster was never designed to work when this shoe is pushed out too far, because the shoe will have to go out further to accommodate for that clearance when the shoe wears. And then what generally happens is, because this brake shoe moves out further than it is supposed to, this adjuster doesn't know that. It just tries to adjust and take up clearance, and it will over adjust and start binding. This is a common thing, it happens all the time, and I recommend just avoiding that headache altogether. I don't think there's anything worse if you're on your way to a job site and you're sitting with locked up brakes, which could have been avoided with just doing it correctly in the first place. So I hope that is informative, and I'm waiting for the customer to get back to me, and then I'll get back to you. Cheers. Also, like on this 120,000 K service of an NP200, it's a 1.6 hour charge, and the customer asked, why does it take 1.6 hours to change oil and spark plugs? Well, it doesn't. To change the air filter and the spark plugs and change the oil, it literally takes maybe 10-15 minutes. It doesn't take long at all. What does take long is the thorough inspection, to go through the brakes and the suspension, and to do the test drive, and then also it needs to be cleaned afterwards. So, and that time needs to be charged for, unfortunately. I mean, the wheels doesn't take themselves off, the drums doesn't remove themselves, the gearbox oil doesn't check itself, the antifreeze doesn't check itself. It has to be done, and that is our time that need to be charged for. I hope that makes sense. Please, in the comments, if there's any questions, let me know and I'll gladly answer. Speak to you later. Alright, customer just got back to me. I just got authorization to do the 120,000 kilometer service only. All the other work was declined, so let's get to it. Let's get it done. In this particular service kit, we got Moly 530 synthetic, good stuff. I do recommend use the best possible oil you can. Your engine will thank you in the long run. For the Bosch oil filter, I do recommend use the best quality oil filter you can. We've got some NGK plugs, tried and tested for years and years. We've got an air filter. Also, use the best quality you can. And we've got a pollen filter that we will install last as soon as it comes off the lift. So, we'll get it up in the air, drain the oil, and replace the spark plugs and do the oil filter, and put the cam belt cover back with the engine mounting, get all the brakes and stuff together, and then get it clean and ready for the customer to collect. So let's get to it. I'll put it on time lapse.
We did put them to the test. They came out top, they will make your mind pop. No problem can hide, they will corner from the side. WG Auto, all the best to me. There will be WG Auto, we did put them to the test. They came out top, they will make your mind pop. No problem can hide, they will corner on the side.
Alright, so on this NP200, the last filter is a pollen filter. It's that little cover there with the 3 T20 screws, and it goes in there. So the cover, the filter sits inside that cavity, and the cover covers it with 3 screws. So that's it, old one coming out and new one going in. Then we're just finishing up on this NP200. The pollen filter is going in last. Tulani is going to wash it for us, get it ready for the customer to collect. I am not test driving this car at this time to do a final test. I always do. This time I won't, because of the brakes. That's metal to metal. There's no reason to really put any more damage on there. And if the customer does bring it back, I will do a follow-up video to document everything. Until then, have a blessed day. Keep well.
G, O2, G, O2, G, O2, G, O2, G.